Welcome. Today, we're going to be talking about understanding your unique menopause body type. So have you noticed that no two women go through menopause or experience menopause in the same way? It's because even though universally every menstruating woman who lives to a certain age is going to go through menopause, how she goes through menopause is deeply personal and unique. We have in our culture, we tend to distill menopause down to a series of really unpleasant, distasteful, or in a lot of cases, downright debilitating symptoms, which need to be managed so we can get back to our life and how it was. And I really think this is a huge disservice to the woman and to the power that this life transition brings. This is called the second spring in Eastern medicine, and it is a powerful life transition. Much like puberty gets us from being a child into being a fertile adult, menopause brings us through our fertile years into our wise woman years. So we want to have that bigger context that this is a normal stage of life. However, the transition and symptoms are real and they can be really hard and very upsetting and sometimes very debilitating for people. And other than HRT, which can offer a lifeline to many women out there, it is not a deep systemic or truly healing option for the long term. So, and HRT isn't for all women as well. And if you want to know more about that, I talk about that in another video. But the symptoms are real, and they are definitely something that needs to be paid attention to. And the reason that they're so vastly different for women is because symptoms are your body's way of letting you know what is off of balance. And when you know what your body is saying, what the symptoms mean, you're empowered. But when you don't know what it's saying, when you don't know what's happening, it's scary. And it's often what happened, the body that we knew in our 20s and 30s as we're getting used to menstruating and getting through the world, it can be a completely foreign body as we enter into our 40s and 50s and we don't understand what's going on. So that can be very scary. And so today I'm going to help you understand your unique body type and what the symptoms mean from an Eastern medicine perspective. And so I'm also going to plant a seed here that symptoms, although very, very common, particularly in Western culture and particularly off the charts in North America, they're not inevitable. So menopause is not about a series of symptoms you need to manage. It's about this life transition. But if you do have symptoms, I'm going to help you understand what they mean and what you can do about them. So welcome, radiant woman. I believe women are radiant at their core, and I'm here to help you understand from a very holistic perspective how to navigate this time of life. So my name is Angela Warburton, and I am an Eastern medicine practitioner. My foundation comes from there, but I am also a menopausal woman. I'm a modern woman. I get what it means to navigate this time of life. And I am here to really share my own personal wisdom, but based on my 25 plus years working with women in the clinic, what you can actually do that works using holistic medicine, using whole person medicine, time tested, and the science and the soul of what it means to be a modern woman and how to navigate this time with a little more empowerment, with more ease, with more grace, and hopefully a little more delight so you can thrive. So for those of you that don't have any experience with Eastern medicine or traditional Chinese medicine, the essence or the core of it is based on balance. When we're balanced, we feel good, we look good, we have vitality, we have energy, and we're relatively symptom-free. This is not about being perfect, but this is about understanding sometimes we get off balance, but we know what needs to happen to bring that balance back. So health, is not just this is beyond your blood tests are normal, so everything's fine kind of health, versus this is about a vibrant, sustainable, nourished health. And it's possible for every single person out there. This is sort of what our bodies are programmed to do. Our bodies are programmed to heal and to let us know when we're off balance so that we can take appropriate action to shift ways of being, our foods, our lifestyle, whatever it is we need to shift to get back to that harmonious and vibrant balance. So when we're off of balance, our body talks, and it will often start as a little whisper, And to all my fellow 80s music lovers out there, it will go from a whisper to a scream if we don't pay attention. And so it's like that slight tug on our shoulder or our arm, and then it will be out and out, right? Like our body is screaming at us. So they'll escalate until we cannot ignore them, or dis-ease. I mean, there's dis-ease, like dis-ease, we don't feel good. And then there's disease that we are navigating at exponential rates in our world. So my job is to help you in prevention and understanding those whispers so that you can bring that healing back to your body. So when you understand what they mean, this is where you can take action versus just masking or band-aiding. So we don't want symptoms. If you're someone who's getting chronic migraines and you just keep taking Advil or painkillers to make it go away, and it's like, oh, I have a headache. Okay, I can't feel it so much now, and I'll go on with my day. But it keeps coming back. We're band-aiding it with the painkiller, which is really necessary sometimes. I'm not poo-pooing that at all. But when we need to look at, why do the headaches keep coming? What's going on? What are the characteristics of it? What is going on in life that is causing these headaches? And when you understand that, you're going to be more empowered. So to me, being able to read these different symptoms, this is what health is. So this can show up in multiple different ways, and this is going to show up for different people in different ways because we are all unique. So if you think about this balance, it's very logical. Chinese medicine is very deep. Eastern medicine, it goes very deep. There's a huge philosophy. It correlates with modern science and the ways we understand body, and it is also very logical and practical. You can apply it, the principles, very simply. And so if you think about balance with hot or cold, right? If you're too hot, you're going to open a window or take off a jacket to cool down. If you're too cold, you're going to put on a sweater or turn the heat up or go out in the sun. And that's about balancing that hot and cold. It can be around moisture levels in the body. If you're too dry, you need to add more moisture. If you're too damp, you've got too much water, your water metabolism's off, you want to dry it. If you're too tired, you need to rest. If you've been too active, you need to rest. And if you haven't been active enough, you need to start moving. So it's just all about this yin and yang aspect. Everything falls into these two categories, and they are essential. Every part of life falls into some degree of this balance, and they are equally dependent on each other. Day needs night in context. Again, hot and cold. So you have too much heat, you've got a desert, and you're going to get through all that moisture, and it's not going to feel good at a point. But if you just don't have any heat at all, you're going to have way too much moisture. So it's really about understanding this balance within the body, and then using very practical medicine to bring balance back. So we use lifestyle medicine primarily. So foods based on property versus nutrition. You can have a very nutritious food, but it's not necessarily the right food for the individual based on their ecosystem, if you will. So if you think of properties of food, would be ginger is a naturally very warming, cinnamon, warming, heating in the body. Whereas things like peppermint or like tomatoes or cucumbers, they tend to be very cooling. So if we're talking about this balance, if you have someone's very, very hot all the time and they're eating ginger and cinnamon and spicy food, they're adding more heat to their body and they're actually throwing their system more off of balance. But if someone's is eating more of those cooling foods and someone's really dry and hot and having more cooling foods like cucumbers, tomato, watermelon, let's say summer foods tend to be very moistening and cooling. Oh, you're bringing balance back. But if different people who are cold all the time have those summer foods, they're adding more cold to their system, throwing it off of balance. Very logical. So we use targeted foods, the way things are cooked or prepared, or the particular foods. We use herbal medicine. We use activity, so the right kind of action or exercise for you. We look at the emotional landscape. These are the free therapies, these lifestyle, nutrition, foods, and activity. And then it's all about bringing that balance back. So bodies are going to talk in multiple ways. There are energetic systems in the way we look at the body in Eastern medicine, and they're related to organ systems that we know in Western medicine, the liver, the gallbladder, the kidneys, the heart, but they incorporate so much more than that. So for example, if we look at the liver system in Eastern medicine, it does have the same principles is our actual liver organ that is located under our right ribs, and it's a big detox organ. It's helpful for with hormones, like getting rid of excess hormones, but also part of our actually building healthy hormones. But in Eastern medicine, it shows up in different parts of the body. So the liver system shows up in the eyes, shows up in the tendons. It shows up with the emotion, anger, frustration, irritability. It will have a big impact over our menstrual cycle, the regularity and the pain, because the liver channel, or the channel where acupuncture points actually are located, they go up through the inner legs and encircle, like through the pelvic region. So if we have a blocked system, liver system, it's going to be congested in the pelvis, and you might get bad cramps or irregular period. It also has an effect on the digestive system. So you might get IBS when this system is off of balance. The gallbladder, which it's paired with, goes up through the shoulders, and that channel wraps around the side of the head, the occipital region, and around the head. I'm sitting on there we go. I can actually move my arms now. There we go. And so someone who gets a lot of tension in their shoulders or the occipital area, and headaches that are around the side of their head, might be related to this liver system imbalance. Shows up in the eyes. It shows up in the nails. If someone is experiencing what we call a depletion of blood in this liver system, you might get things like hangnails. You might get dry eyes, floaters in your eyes. You might get muscle cramps or spasms because it shows up in the tendons in the body. So this is a very like Chinese medicine 101. So this is like 5,000 years of medicine in like, a minute. So take it all with a grain, but just getting these ideas that it will show up in multiple ways when one system is off of balance. The digestive system has a huge impact on our ability to break down food, absorb the nutrients, build our hormones. When this system is off of balance, we can get things like leaky gut. We can get sensitivities to foods. A lot of people get sensitivities to oxalates, and if their gut is weak, that can be a reason that their body is not actually able to handle them. It can show up with when we worry too much. It shows up in our blood sugar regulation. So it will show up in multiple ways. It also shows up in our muscle tone, in our if we bruise easily, it can be a sign that this system is off of balance. So there's just multiple ways of these different systems. So to heal, we need to look at what's causing or contributing to the imbalance and then adjust accordingly. So most recently for myself, I know all this stuff. I work in this medicine, and still I fall off of balance. And so at the beginning of the summer this year, I was just loving the salads. I was just then all the raw food that was out there, and I was eating a lot of salads versus warm cooked foods. I also decided I was going to try this new exercise routine where I was doing a little more CrossFit. So this is like super intense CrossFit stuff, and I wasn't getting out in the sun much. I was doing all this exercise, but I wasn't. I was eating sort of cold foods, and I was exercising more, and I wasn't getting sort of warmth in my system. So there was a few other things. I was just sort of burning the candle at both ends. And I started to notice that my complexion was getting really pale. My tongue, if you're interested in tongue diagnosis, I have a video on that. My tongue was getting really, really pale. I just started to put on weight. Even though I was eating healthy foods, I was putting on weight. I was more tired. I was not really having enthusiasm for life. I just didn't look or feel like myself. And so when I started to recognize my system had way more cold and it was more depleted. I just didn't have a lot of life force, a lot of heat, and I also, not only did I put on weight, I put on a lot of cellulite, which is, I'm going to do a whole video on cellulite, but right in my middle, which is not common for me at all. And I know a lot of women put on weight in their middle. I'm many years post-menopause. I haven't put on a ton of weight in my middle. And all of a sudden, within a couple of weeks, I was noticing a huge change. And so then I use my own advice, and I started to shift how I was working. I tailored back my workouts. I started to do gentle yoga and do more gentle walking. I started to cook all my food again, took out all my raw food. I started to spend a little time in the heat, in the warmth outside, and I just tailored my schedule a different way. I looked at what needed to look at, and within a few weeks, my body started to shift back again. And so that was at equilibrium. My body was saying, we can't keep up this way. This is too cold. We don't have enough fire. You're eating in a way that isn't working. And then I adjusted and moved back, and the symptoms got better and how I felt. So it's really about learning to listen, to observing how things are showing up in multiple ways, the ways that your body's talking to you, and then take action from there. So someone who's hot and frazzled and tired and wired, and they've got a lot of redness, maybe their tongue is really red, they might have red bloodshot eyes, and their complexion is red, they might feel like their nails are more brittle. When you think of moisture levels or blood in the body, if we're dry, it's not getting moisture to where it needs to go. So dry skin, dry eyes, dry nails. So that person is going to have to decrease the heat. So add some more moistening food. So that could be more like cold pressed juices, some soups that have more of like a brothy medium, foods that are going to build the blood. So like cherries or beets or are good foods to build the blood. Red meats can be helpful in small amounts to build the blood, but things that are going to be more of a building versus someone who's cold and damp, like I was, too much moisture, too lethargic. We need to warm up. So that person needs to have warm foods, things that are going to increase the temperature. Just think of it like if you're trying to cook something on the stove and say you're trying to cook a soup and then you want to break it down and have everything cook and integrate in. But if you keep putting ice blocks in that soup, nothing's going to break down. And so then it's just kind of staying like it's like cool all the time. Nothing's going to integrate and it's not going to taste very good. Conversely, if you add so much heat and you have it on high and the water starts to go down and you lose those fluid levels, you're going to burn it and it's not going to be good either. So it's the right amount of heat with the right amount, like the warming and cooling aspects in right balance. And that's where everything flows a little bit better. It's very general, but hopefully you're getting the idea. So it's like finding the balance between hot and cold, rest and activity. And your body's going to tell you in multiple different ways. So I can't go into too much detail here because I'm just trying to keep these videos very succinct. But if you're interested in understanding how the body works together, so how these symptoms are linked together, it's like hot flashes when we're stressed and more irritable and tense, we're easily angered, how that's going to show up, where you get headaches, all that's the same system. Understanding what the symptoms mean that you're experiencing, because a lot of women are experiencing different symptoms at menopause, but there are some patterns that exist universally for women when they're off of balance in a certain way. So if you're interested in understanding, that was a very awkward sentence, so thank you for standing for that. But if you're interested in understanding your particular menopause body type, I am doing a free training that will go into more detail. I'll explain the principles a little bit more articulately than I am here. I will explain what different symptoms mean and the patterns, and then I'll give you very practical tips on how to bring this balance back. Things that you can be doing at home, in addition to whatever else you're choosing to do. If you're on HRT or you're working in other ways, but these are going to be things that you can do at home to make a significant difference in how you feel. So if you're interested in that, the link is in the bio. It's running September 10th to 12th. It's a free training. I'm going to give you all kinds of juicy stuff there. Anyone who comes live, I am offering some really fun little gifts that I'm just going to give to anyone who's there live, because I think it's just such a powerful container to be together. And I have some really fun stuff I love giving away. So you can join me there September 10th to 12th. There will be a recording. And I hope this just gave you a little bit of an idea that symptoms aren't inevitable. You are programmed to heal. When you understand what your body's symptoms are saying to you, how your body's trying to get your attention, and when you understand what you can do, you are empowered and you can radically shift your health. So thank you for being here. Thank you for staying with all my awkwardness today. If you want more information like this, please hit subscribe. I am doing videos every week of all kinds of different holistic tools to take care of yourself through midlife so you can thrive in midlife and beyond. So hit subscribe, hit like if you like this video, reach out to me anytime. Please, I love your comments. If you have requests, let me know. I've got a list. I'm just going through the videos, trying to give you practical information that you need and want. So thank you for being here. Have a beautiful day or evening, and I will see you next time.